There was a time when every year felt different. Different settings, different mechanics, different ways to play. And yet, it was always the same name, Call of Duty. A franchise that didn't just grow, it adapted, shifted, reinvented itself again and again. Sometimes ahead of its time, sometimes chasing it, and sometimes trying to find its way back. So, what exactly happened to Call of Duty? Call of Duty began in 2003, at a time when World War II shooters were already familiar. But familiarity wasn't the goal, immersion was. Instead of one hero, you were part of something larger. Squads moved with you, battles unfolded around you, moments felt scripted, but alive. It wasn't about control, it was about presence, being inside the moment, rather than leading it. Encounters were cinematic, sound design carried weight, camera movement created urgency, chaos felt intentional. It blurred the line between game and war film. But even immersion has limits, and the genre itself was starting to feel familiar. To move forward, Call of Duty had to leave the past behind. In 2007, everything changed. Modern Warfare didn't just update the setting, it redefined the structure. Multiplayer became the core. Progression systems introduced new loop, XP, unlocks, prestige. For the first time, playing wasn't just about the match, it was about what came after it. Every action fed into progression. Kills became currency, time became investment, skill became visible. The game didn't end when the match did, it continued. But this era didn't just define systems, it crossed a line. No Russian, an optional mission, placing players inside a terrorist attack. For some, it was bold storytelling, for others, it went too far. The conversation shifted, from gameplay to ethics, from design to responsibility. Call of Duty wasn't just being played anymore, it was being debated. And behind the scenes, tension was building. After Modern Warfare's 2 success, key developers were removed. Legal disputes followed. Studios split. Players didn't see everything, but they felt it. Uncertainty inside a franchise that suddenly felt unstable. Because Call of Duty wasn't just a game anymore, it was a system. This was the peak. Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Black Ops 2. Each release refined the formula, not radically, but precisely. Everything felt immediate, responsive, addictive. But even at its peak, it wasn't balanced. Kill streaks could dominate entire matches. One moment could decide everything. But the chaos became part of the identity. Unpredictable, messy, memorable. Today, balance is expected. Back then, chaos was accepted. More than anything, this was a social experience. Friends logging in nightly, voices becoming familiar, moments repeating across millions of players. Mobs became memory. But when something becomes dominant, it faces a new challenge. Call of Duty chose innovation. Jetpacks, wall running, vertical movement. A complete shift in how the game felt. On paper, it made sense. The industry was evolving. Then came the reaction. Immediate, overwhelming and negative. Not because it was broken, but because it felt disconnected. Players weren't rejecting innovation, they were rejecting direction. They didn't want the future, they wanted Call of Duty. At the same time, the systems changed. Supply drops introduced randomness, rewards tied to chance. The game wasn't just about performance anymore, it was about probability. Before, you earned your gear, now you might unlock it. And in 2018, something disappeared. The campaign. Replaced by a focus on multiplayer and battle royale. For some it made sense, for others it felt incomplete. The question returned, what is Call of Duty supposed to be? 2019 marked a return, but not to the past, to a reinterpretation of it. Heavier movement, stronger audio, more grounded combat. But new systems brought new debates. Skill-based matchmaking, designed for fairness, experienced differently. For some, it created balance. For others, it removed relaxation. Every match felt intense. Then came Warzone, a shared space, persistent, evolving. But something shifted. Multiplayer no longer felt central. For many, it felt secondary. Today, Call of Duty exists differently. Not as separate releases, but as a continuous platform. Seasons, updates, ongoing systems. And the debates continue. Realism versus expression. For some, freedom. For others, lost identity. Modern Warfare 3 raised questions. Too familiar, too limited. Not failure, but fatigue. And then the cycle continued. Black Ops returned. Not as a reset, but as a continuation. Black Ops 6 refined the formula. Movement evolved. Systems tightened. Presentation leaned cinematic again. But the question remained, is Call of Duty evolving or repeating? For some, consistency, for others, stagnation. With Black Ops 7, the pattern became clear. Not reinvention, extension. Systems carried forward, structure remained. The experience didn't reset, it accumulated. Call of Duty today is not a series of games, it's a system that continues. And maybe that's the real shift. Not how it changes, but how it never truly resets. Call of Duty didn't follow a straight path. It adapted, shifted, experimented, returned. It wasn't just played, it was debated, redefined by the people playing it. There was a time when every year felt different. Now, it never really ends. New case files release every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.